Hello students, welcome to all in social science class. Dear students, today we will discuss soil as a resource. So we come to the final part of the chapter, that is soil as a resource, and we begin with soil formation. Now, how is soil formed? Soil formation is a very long process. It actually takes 100 to 1000 years, and the factors that are involved in soil formation are: first one is parent rock. Parent rock is the original rock from which the soil is formed. The next factor is climate. Climate mainly deals with variations in temperature and different types of precipitation. Third one is vegetation. Vegetation refers to all the plant species. Fourth is the animals, different types of animals. Then it is micro living organisms. Now coming to the first one, and that is parent rock. Now in whichever part of India, whatever is original rock, based on the different types of soils are formed. If it is Maharashtra, in Maharashtra we mainly see the basalt rocks, and from that we get black soil. If we come in the southern part of the India, we will find mostly ancient, crystalline, igneous, metamorphic rocks, and from that we get red soil. If it laterite rocks, we get laterite soil. So based on the rocks, the soil formation differ from one place to another. Now these parent rocks are subjected variation in temperature and even precipitation. So these rocks regularly expand and contract, develop cracks, and finally they break down into the small sediments. Then there are dead remains of plants as well as animals. When they all died, they all are decomposed and become a part of the soil. Then there are microorganisms of the soil. They also help in the process of soil formation. So this is how soil is formed. Now we will study the different types of soil. The first one is the alluvial soil. Now alluvial soil is mainly formed from the depositional work of the rivers, and that is why it is also called riverine soil. Now where is it found in India? It is found in all the areas colored in green. So it is found in the entire North Indian plains, which is the fertile land of our country. Then it is the eastern coastal plain. Then it is the deltas of rivers such as Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. Now when I say delta, deltas are at the mouth of rivers, ending part of the rivers. Here the rivers divided into the distributaries, and the land between the distributaries is known as delta. So these are the regions where it is found. Apart from that, there is thin corridor which connects Rajasthan and Gujarat. So some parts of Gujarat and Rajasthan also have alluvial soil. Next is, it is found in Piedmont plains. Now I said that this soil is formed by the depositional work of the rivers, and the rivers begin from the mountains. The points where these mountain slopes come to an end and the land begins, the beginning point, those areas are called Piedmont plains, and these are the regions where we will find the soil to be coarse. Coarse meant to say moti, thick, that is rough soil. Now these are also the areas where we find three geographical features. One is duars, other one is chos, third one is tarai. Duars are actually formed more in Sikkim and Bhutan regions. Duars is another word for door and opening of flood plains. Chos refers to the streams that begin from the mountains, that is known as the Himalayan mountain. They can be seen in Punjab and Haryana. Then there is a Tarai belt. Tarai belt is very close to the Himalayas, and this is the belt of marshy lands. And in these marshy lands we have national parks, bird sanctuaries, even in some parts there are settlements and so on. According to the age, alluvial soil, it can be classified as 1. It is called Khadar and the other one is Bhangar. Now, whenever the river is flowing, it will deposit soil in the adjacent areas. So the regular deposition, the fresh soil is referred to as Khadar, which is fertile soil. But every year the new layer of soil comes. The earlier one is pushed back and it becomes an old one. These are the Bhangar soil. Because these are very dry areas and in summer there is intense heat. So the microorganisms in this completely died and lime content in the soil increases, which develops in the form of lime nodules called as kankar. So these soils have high proportion of kankar and even the fertility is low. So they require some treatment before they can use for cultivation. Most of these soils contain adequate proportion of potash, phosphoric acid as well as lime. Due to its high fertility, the regions of alluvial soils are intensively cultivated and densely populated. The dry areas means the areas of Bhangar soil are more alkaline, that is it has more amount of lime, that's the reason. And these also I said it can become more productive only after proper treatment and irrigation. Irrigation, that is supplying water for cultivation. Then comes the black soil. Now when it comes to black soil formed from basalt rocks or we say lava rocks. Whenever there is a volcanic eruption, that time lava flows out and cools down. These rocks are called lava rocks or they are called basalt rocks. They are black in color and they are also known as rugged soil. These soils are found in the Deccan Trap regions. When I say Deccan Trap region, Deccan Trap refers to the southern part of the Indian Plateau region. Now these regions are also referred to as trap. Trap here refers to as steps like structure because of the regular volcanic eruption in these regions. Layer upon layer have developed, which can be clearly seen in the mountains, and they are appeared like a step. That's why the word uses the Deccan Trap region. These soils are rich in clay. When I say rich in clay, means their moisture holding capacity is high. They are also rich in lime, iron, magnesium, calcium carbonate and potash. To remember it, you can remember the word Limca P. Limca P means lime, iron, magnesium, calcium carbonate and potash. So Limca P. Then they are poor in nitrogen, oxygen and phosphorus. So you can remember the word no P. This will help you to remember. Now where is this soil found? This soil found in Maharashtra and all surrounding areas. So it is Maharashtra, then it is Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, even Andhra Pradesh, and then it is Karnataka. Coming to next soil, and that is red and yellow soil. Now if you see carefully, red and yellow soils surrounds the black soil. So red and yellow soil develops on the ancient, crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rocks. So when red soil covers the big part of India. Now these soils develop a reddish color. The reason is it has high amount of iron in it, which oxidizes and then it diffuses in the rocks. It also looks yellow in certain areas. It looks yellow because that region is hydrated, means it receives good amount of water, so it becomes yellowish in color. Now this soil, where it is found? Red soil is found in Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and even Madhya Pradesh. So it is found in lot of states, that is states surrounding Maharashtra. And what is cultivated in such a soil? If you see Maharashtra, it is found in the coastal parts. So it has to be rice. Karnataka is another big state and it is mostly coffee crops. Kerala spices and rubber. Tamil Nadu, again there are many crops are cultivated apart from rice. It can be rice, it can be sugarcane. Then comes is laterite soil, and laterite soil is found in the regions of heavy rainfall, and then in summers temperature is high. It is found in the areas with high temperature and heavy rainfall. What happens because of heavy rainfall is intense leaching. Now the rocks that are found in these areas are rich in lime as well as silica, and lime and silica easily reacts with water and flows out of the rock. So if you see carefully the rocks develops many dents. The reason is lime and silica has flown out of it. The rocks becomes weak and finally it breaks down and forms this soil, that is laterite soil. Now in this soil the humus content is low. The reason is again in this the microorganisms, bacteria, they all get destroyed due to high temperature, and even the fertility of this soil is low. Red soil as well as laterite soil, the fertility of the soil is low, and if we add fertilizers we can utilize it for cultivation of crops. So it is suitable for cultivation with adequate doses of manures and even fertilizers. Now where it is found? It is found in again in the states of Maharashtra, Goa, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and Madhya Pradesh. So almost the same states of red soil, but the areas are different, and you know Goa means cashew nut, Karnataka again for coffee, Kerala it is for spices and rubber crops. These are all the major crops that are cultivated, and along the eastern coast definitely it is rice, sugarcane. So almost all the important crops can be cultivated in a one laterite soil. Then comes the arid soil. When I say arid soil, we have come to the eastern side of Rajasthan. So arid soil range from red to brown in color. Next, they are generally sandy in texture and saline in nature. So percentage of salt is more, and in some areas we can even extract salt. So salt is obtained by evaporating the water in certain areas, like we have the Sambar lake of Rajasthan from where we get salt. Now due to extreme climate, high temperature, this soil lacks humus and moisture. The lower horizon of the soil is occupied by kankar. Kankar here means the layer of lime. Now this is good for the soil. So the bottom horizons restrict the infiltration of water. So whatever little rainfall these regions receives is stored in the soil, that in the upper layer of the soil, which is good for agriculture. So after proper irrigation, these soils become cultivable. The reason is even these soils, though the clay content is less, can retain water. Then comes forest soil. Forest soil, the name itself tells us, it is found in the forest, and in India forest means most of forests are in the mountainous areas. So these forests are found in the hilly and mountainous regions with sufficient rain. The soil texture varies according to the mountain environment, and if it is in the higher slope it will be very coarse, and when we come down it will be fine grained. These soils are loamy as well as silty. When I say loamy, means the soil is perfect. It has good proportion of sand, clay, silt. When I say silty here, it refers to coarse soil, that is rough soil. So coarse grain is found in the upper slope and fine grain will be found in the lower slopes. Now, when it comes to Himalayas, mainly in the northeastern Himalayas, mainly the eastern Himalayas due to denudation. When I say denudation, denudation is a process that involves erosion, transportation and depositions. Actually, whenever a big mountainous area is subjected to wearing away is called denudation. Then it means it is denuded. The soil becomes acidic and even humus content in it is low. So this requires treatment if at all we want to use it for cultivation. In the river terraces, when I say terrace, this picture shows that supposing a river is flowing, and when you look carefully towards the left and right of the river, earlier this river was very wide and now it has narrow, and the region adjacent to it is that a higher altitude. So it referred to as terraces. Then there are alluvial fans. Alluvial fans are generally in the Himalayas. The river crosses the middle Himalayas and the Shivalik range, and when they come to plain, suddenly they find an open land and is spread out. They spread out like a Japanese fan, and that is why these regions are referred to as alluvial fans, and they are very fertile. Now we have seen soil formation. The process of soil formation and soil erosion goes on simultaneously, and always there is a balance between these two activities. But sometimes this balance is disturbed, mainly because of human activities. It can be because of using excess amount of chemical fertilizers. We have also seen deforestation, overgrazing, mining. So different reasons for soil erosion. So the factors that lead to soil erosion are: one is deforestation, overgrazing, construction and mining, and natural forces like wind, glacier and water. And we have already studied all. So there are different types of soil erosion. First one is sheet erosion. Sheet erosion means a thin upper layer of soil is washed away. Then there is rill erosion. Rill erosion means you will see thin cracks, thin lines comes. These are also called finger erosion. Then the next is gully erosion. In the gully erosion, deep channels are found. So these are the different types of soil erosion. Now, how to prevent them is soil conservation. So first one is by contour farming. Means supposing I have a big piece of land and that has many ups and downs. So I will make sections of that agricultural land. So when I am dividing it with sections, then different piece of land has different height. Now when I do the plowing will be done along the lines of contour. When I say contour, they are actually means lines joining the same height. So when plowing is done, it will never be done along the slope, which is wrong. Instead, it will be done parallel to the contours. So plowing along the contour lines is what is called as contour farming. Now, what happens because of this? It deaccelerates the flow of water down the slopes. It will slow down the water, and this is called contour plowing. Then the next one is terrace farming. Now this is very popular and it is done on the mountain slopes, and mainly it is utilized for cultivation of rice. Steps can be cut out in the slopes and make terraces. Terrace cultivation restricts soil erosion because on the border there is bunding, and this bunds prevents the water to flow down. It will store the water in that area, and that is what is good for the cultivation of rice. This is seen in mountainous area. Like in India, it is western and central Himalayas. They have well developed terrace farming. Similarly, it is practiced by many countries. Actually, all countries which have good mountain, like even China, producing rice on a large scale from mountainous regions. So this is one way of soil conservation. After terrace farming, it is strip farming. So in this is entire agricultural lands. The crop are cultivated in strips. So the land that is there in between, they will be using it for cultivation of grass, or sometimes some other crops are cultivated. In this way, there is no empty land there, soil there, which can be subjected to erosion. That is how they prevent soil erosion. So large fields can be divided into strips. Strips of grass are left to grow between the crops, and this breaks up the force of wind and prevents soil erosion. And this method is known as strip cropping. Now next one is shelter belts. Now planting lines of trees to create a shelter is what is referred to as shelter belts. Whenever a farmer has an agricultural piece of land, to prevent soil erosion along the border of this agricultural land, he will plant trees once he understands the pattern of trees. Now these trees work like a shelter and reduces the velocity of the wind, and thereby prevents soil erosion. Now it is practiced even in the borders of Rajasthan and Punjab. The reason is, in India, the south monsoon winds blow and they will take the desert towards Punjab, and to prevent this, trees planted. So we can say these shelter belts have contributed significantly to the stabilization of sand dunes and is stabilizing the desert in western India. So we can say these shelter belts have contributed significantly to the stabilization of sand dunes and in stabilizing the desert in India. So my dear students, with this I conclude the chapter first, that is resources and development. Thank you. Stay blessed. Stay happy.